Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Welcome to Touched by Angel Live. I am your host, Angel Kinseys. My passion is to inspire seniors to get healthy and bring solutions to their everyday needs. If you wish to join the conversation, please contact us at 1-888-565-1470 or email us at touchedbyangellive@gmail.com. Enjoy the show. Good evening. Welcome to my show. Tonight, I am honored to have a very special guest, and he's actually helped me since I had COVID a year and a half ago. I had a pretty bad case. I didn't end up in the hospital, but I was down for 7 weeks, and thank God I came through it. And since then, I've had problems once in a while with dizziness, even though I'm very active and I do hair and I teach exercise. It's really affected me, and I know it's since the COVID that it happened. So I found out about Trevor, and I started to go to him. I went to another doctor, and they told me that I didn't have crystals in my ears. I learned about crystals years ago in the gym. Never heard of it. I'm sure a lot of you out there never heard of it either. But tonight we're going to get a great education. He's going to talk about the causes of dizziness, not only dizziness, balance, vertigo, ear crystals, but he's going to talk about how it's diagnosed, how it's treated, and also how to prevent it. And so Trevor, his name is Trevor Meyerowitz, and he is the owner of Preferred Physical Therapy in Deerfield Beach, beautiful Deerfield Beach. He is a physical therapist and a certified vestibular therapist. So he really specializes in that area, and he has expertise in especially in vertigo and ear crystals. So welcome, Trevor.
Lovely to be here.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to know you, and I was recommended by my client, and I've sent you a few people, and so I believe in what you do, and that's why I invited you to be on my show. So thank you for coming.
It's absolutely my pleasure.
So if you could just tell us all that's been going on, and you've noticed a rise in cases.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been a physical therapist for 32 years. As you can hear from my accent, I'm from a different country. I'm from South Africa, where I was trained, and I worked for many years, and I've been in America for 23 years. So I started off just doing general physical therapy in America, and about 12 years ago I branched out into treating dizziness and vertigo. Patient here, a patient there. But when COVID hit about two and a half years ago, I started seeing a sharp rise in cases of dizziness and vertigo. I'm not sure if it's a correlation or causation, more than likely a correlation. We can't prove that the one causes the other, but there definitely is an increase.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, if you have vertigo, I mean, that causes balance issues, and then you've got problems falling. So since my show specializes in seniors, I think this is going to be very educational for you out there. If you're suffering with anything like this, you know, the first thing people think when they have a problem, right away, what's the first thing you think? Like if you have a pain in your heart, what do you think? Oh, I'm having a heart attack, right? So if people think, oh, my balance is off, or my brain, I can't function, I've got brain fog, what do they think? They got a brain tumor, right? That's the first thing you think, something's wrong. And it could be very simple, right?
Yeah. So a lot of patients that come to me are referred by their primary care physician, an ENT, but we have to go through the systems and eliminate the brain, because you can get dizzy from causes of the brain.
And that's what my primary did. She sent me to an ENT.
Right.
And he's the one that said I didn't have ear crystals, and I didn't believe it. And then my client came in, and I said, you know what? I called her and I said, could you refer me to Trevor? And she did.
All right. So, you know, a lot of people go through to the emergency room when they have a bout of vertigo because you have to check to make sure they do a brain scan. So a lot of people go through the process of going to through an MRI to make sure it's nothing in the brain, which is a good thing.
Sure.
But a lot of the times it takes a long time to get to me because they have to be referred to these different doctors.
But if
before they get.
somebody knows about your crystals and maybe they feel like, you know, maybe I should just give it a try, they could go
Yeah.
to their primary, ask their primary
Correct.
doctor to refer them. And if your primary knows that you're having problems, she could refer you because it is covered by insurance,
It
correct?
is. It's covered by insurance.
Good.
And we take most of the insurances. So when I do an evaluation of a patient, we eliminate all the other systems. Yeah, just with a quick scan, we do a little test to see that it's not coming from the brain. We make sure it's not coming from any arteries or blood pressure because you can get dizzy from those things.
Right.
Once we determine that it's coming from the inner ear, at that point we have to say, right, now what part of the inner ear is it coming from?
Right. And that's what you did with me.
Correct.
I mean, he was so thorough. That's what I was impressed with. That he, you know how sometimes they rush you through? He was so thorough about standing me and sitting and putting my head down and balancing and so many different tests that he did before he even said anything. So I was very impressed with that.
Well, one has to. You know, you have to make sure that you're dealing with the right problem. Now, you said, you know, you have the crystals. We all have crystals.
Okay.
All of us have crystals. The problem is when the crystals come out of place, then you can get what you had, which was benign positional paroxysmal vertigo, BPPV. That's the main cause of vertigo.
Now, people think vertigo that the room spins, but the room wasn't spinning. I just felt dizzy.
It's a spectrum.
Yeah.
You have some people that are just a little dizzy, and then all the way to the other end of the spectrum, you can have people that are really spinning.
Yeah. And it gets worse if you close your eyes, because I've had it once before, years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when a lot of crystals come out, then you're on this side of the spectrum. And when just a few come out, like you didn't have that many, but enough to cause the problem. Now, these crystals are tiny. It's not like a diamond.
Right.
Each crystal is the size of a grain of baby powder. So if you have to think of a red blood cell or a white blood cell, which we can't see with the naked eye, but you can see it under a microscope, that's how big these crystals are. And we have hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of them, in this one little area in the inner ear.
Now, I know we're on radio, but you did bring an example
Right.
of the inner ear. And even though on the radio you can't see it, you could look it up, and but
Right.
we're going to show it for the audience, for the live audience, and for the audience, a little bit about
Right.
the
So,
crystals
so the ear, what I'm showing now is the ear, and about 2 or 3 inches inside the outside of the ear, we have a little area which we call the inner ear, and I'm showing now the tubes, or these little vestibules, labyrinths, these tubes, and they are filled with fluid. They shouldn't have any crystals in them.
So there's 3 coming inside your ear, very tiny. I mean, like really, really.
They're really small. I mean, what I'm showing now is maybe 6 inches high, but inside the ear, you're talking about less than 1/8 of an inch.
Yeah. So
It's
it's
tiny.
very, very. I mean, one little thing could throw you completely off.
Completely off. Now, we live in a world of 3 dimensions. So these canals have been designed to be in 3 dimensions, or 3 different angles. So when the crystals which live in the main area down here come out of place, they can go into one of these 3 canals. This one, called the posterior canal, the most common. 90% of people get it, and you had them in this canal. And they come out typically at night. If they're loose, they come out when you put your head into a position and they fall down into the tube. Why do they come out? Why do they get loose?
Yeah.
So we're not sure, 100% sure, but there are theories as to why they come out. I'd say that 85 to 90% of people that I see, and I've seen in the last 12 years maybe 7,000 patients that have dizziness or vertigo, I'd say 85 to 90% of them do not drink enough.
Water.
Me included.
Not drinks. Now don't get crazy and go, oh, great. No, water.
Water. We do not
Water.
drink enough water. We should drink between 64, depending on your weight, 64 to 100 ounces of water a day.
Yes.
And
Half
that-
of your weight.
Half of your weight, and also depends on activity. If I go out and play golf, and it's hot in Florida, and you're out for 4 hours,
Sweating.
you have to drink a lot more. So I do see people that are dehydrated, they play tennis one day, they get vertigo the next day.
Interesting. Wow.
So dehydration is a very big cause.
Okay.
Females, I see 5 to 8 times more females than males. So we think hormones play a role in loosening those crystals, or the membrane where the crystals sit. If that membrane dries up, those crystals do not attach as easily, and they can
come out.
come out.
And isn't it more women in a certain age? Like,
Correct. So between 45 and 55, we see a spike in people that get these vertigo episodes, and we think it's hormonally. As the estrogen level goes down, the vertigo incidence goes up. Trauma can do it as well. I have patients that have had whiplash or take a fall, bump their head, loosen the crystals, they get dizzy.
interesting.
So I'd say those are the main causes.
So could you just go into a little bit about how it's diagnosed? Because it's very, of course you did the exam,
Right.
and then when you treated me, it was interesting because you put these glasses on and he looks in your eyes and he actually shows you on his phone how your eyes are moving. And once you learn, you could actually, when it's happening because your eye will twitch. And he's in there looking at you under these microscopic glasses and your head's like way back. He's got a table. And then how do you
Right.
diagnose?
So once we know that it's a crystal problem and not another kind of dizziness from the inner ear, because there is another type. So what we have to do is we've got to find out which canal it's in. Because each canal is treated differently.
And you treat that by turning your head to the left
putting-
or to the right.
Correct.
That's how you
By
know.
putting the head into certain positions and using gravity. Because gravity, I'll tell you a joke. You said to me before we
Yes.
came on show you wanted a joke.
Because he makes you laugh when you go in. He's so happy.
So they say that gravity is a myth. The world sucks. If you think about that. You get it?
Yes.
But we use gravity to pull these crystals down because everything will always fall down. So as long as you get the canal in
that
a position, the crystal will always fall down. And then you keep moving the
The
patient
head.
to get
So
the
you got your head
crystal-
upside down and he's shaking your head like this.
Right, so I use a
And then you
special
get up.
table.
Yeah.
The table tilts so that we don't put your head in your neck into a bad position.
Right.
And we get gravity to pull the crystals down, flip you over, and the crystals will then fall through a little hole back into place, into the little box where they live.
And then he does the other side. And then almost immediately when you get up, right, he has you get up fast and put your head down. And then that's another part of the treatment. I don't know what that does.
that was for your canal.
mine,
Yeah,
okay.
for yours.
Yeah.
So we can't see the crystals because they're so deep down inside
You
Yeah.
actually said the first time I came that mine wasn't in the tube, it was in the valve. It was stuck in.
Right,
So
so
you
there's-
knew that about
So
mine.
it's very complex, and 20 minutes isn't enough to tell everybody.
Exactly.
But there are valves as well, and the crystals can get stuck to the valve. Then you've got to get it off the valve into the canal and then move it around. Now, the only way we know where it is by looking in the eye, because the eye starts to twitch.
Yes.
And that twitching tells us where it is. Is it on a valve? Is it in canal 1,
Right.
canal 2, or canal 3, in the right or the left ear?
So when you did mine, it was when I turned my head to the left all the way down, and I could actually feel it on my left side that my eye was twitching. And
So-
on the right, it wasn't. So that's how I knew, wow, that's what's going on.
Right, and we call that twitching nystagmus. And I like to video to show.
Yeah, then he shows you on a video your eye.
Right.
And he says, here, this is you.
Patients
amazing.
often think that I can see the crystals by putting those goggles on. I can see the crystals, but you can't. You just see the eye. You cannot see the ear through the goggles.
Yeah. But there's so many seniors. Well, like he said, it's women in their, more so women, and it's in their 40s and over that have this problem. And I think a lot of people have it, but they're afraid because they don't know what to do. So if it was me, before I would think of a brain tumor, I would want to go and have my crystals checked. That was the first thing I thought about. And I'm
Right.
glad I did, because the first doctor said I didn't have it. And then you found him. And you found him with my client. She said, I think she had 3 treatments and it was gone.
Yeah.
Now my other client's coming and you've
Right.
helped her. So it's been amazing. What I want to ask
I'm
you
going to
is,
put you in the marketing department.
yeah. What I'd like to do is find out, okay, you told us what the cause is, lack of water, maybe hormonal. It could even be related to COVID too.
Right.
They
I
say
mean,
that's a little bit more with the brain fog going on.
Yeah, so what's happening is people are getting. I had somebody who had a vaccine, and the next day they got dizzy, so they thought it was related to the vaccination, but it could have just been. It doesn't necessarily mean that the one is causing the other.
Right.
And so too with COVID. I've had people that have COVID, and then a few weeks later or soon thereafter they get dizzy. But we
Yeah.
are seeing an increase.
Yes.
So we're not sure how it's related, but people are getting sinus infections, and that can affect the ear because there's a tube called the eustachian tube, and that tube connects the sinus to the ear, and if you get a sinus infection, fluid can travel into the ear, and then you get an in the ear infection.
When you said that about the nose, now because we're in Florida, a lot of people swim.
Yeah.
Swimming, going underneath the water, would that in any way
No.
affect? It doesn't have
No,
anything to do.
yeah.
Okay.
The only way you could really get crystals coming out is if you did a somersault or you put your head in a certain position
Okay.
underwater, which is easier to do
Yeah.
than
But
out
water
here.
going in the ear would not affect.
Water going in the ear
Okay.
could not loosen these crystals.
So my other question is, how do you prevent it, or can it be prevented?
Well, if we start drinking more, that would help. The more we drink, the more our tissues have fluid, and we comprise about 70%. Our bodies are made out of a lot of water. So if we drink a lot, we could eliminate a lot of the problem. I'd say stress is another thing, which I didn't mention earlier on. People who are going through a lot of stressful situations can get it
Really, just from stress?
from stress. Stress can cause a lot of different problems in the body. And financial stress,
Yeah.
family stress.
So if, let's say, if somebody felt dizzy and they felt like could be ear crystals, are you saying that if you drank a lot of water, it could put them back in place?
No.
Or no, you
No.
have to have the treatment to
Right.
put them back in place. But the prevention is drinking water so they
Right.
don't get dried up and come out of place.
Correct.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
what I wanted
Yeah,
to
I'd say
make
that
clear.
some people, they get vertigo, they book an appointment to see me, and then a day after they book the appointment, The crystals
Go back?
go, well, we're not sure what happens, but they don't come for the therapy because they say they feel better.
Yeah.
Sometimes these crystals can dissolve on their own. They're very small, just like your coffee kernels. When you put them into your cup, you stir the water and they dissolve. So too, these crystals can dissolve. So it is self-limiting in that it can just go away by itself.
Right. But I've noticed that it comes and goes. So,
A lot of the time that could be because you think they're all back in place
and they're not.
and they're not. Or you put them back in place, but they're not staying there and they can come out again.
Or you're not drinking enough water, or
Correct.
you're under a lot of stress.
I have a lot of people that say they drink coffee in the morning. And when you drink a lot of caffeine, coffee has caffeine, or Coke. I had somebody the other day who just, I think he drinks 3 liters of Diet Coke a day. There's a lot of caffeine in that. So
That's
that
a
can
lot.
cause you to dehydrate. And when you dehydrate, you land up with kidney stones, you can land up with vertigo.
I hope my son's listening, because he just told me that just the other day, he just, all of a sudden, the room started to spin and he just stopped and then it went away. And it's the second time it happened in the last 3 weeks. We were eating, he's going to kill me for this, but nobody knows which son, because I have 2. So
Tell him to give me a call.
I'm going to send him to you.
Yeah, but I'd say, you know, it's easy to say to patients, don't be under stress. It's a very difficult thing to just not have stress. And that's
Yeah.
why if they come to a class like yours where you teach breathing and just maintaining exercise, a level of fitness
Yeah.
can also help. You
And-
have to eat healthily.
You have to eat healthy, you got to get sleep. And, you know, I realized that the stress everywhere, when the chiropractor was on a couple of weeks ago, a month ago, what I realized talking to her was that there's stress everywhere. It's how we deal with it. It's in here. So if you're very stressful and you hold it in and bitter and not forgiving and tense, that's going to affect you a lot. So we're always going to have stress out there. Remember, it's how you deal with it. So I think this was very educational. I wish we had an hour. We don't. But Trevor, thank you so much. I think we're going to have a lot of questions for you, and hopefully people will come. Trevor is in Deerfield Beach. He owns Preferred Physical Therapy. And if you have any questions, please call into the station. We're going to be here tonight for a little bit. And also, I wanted to invite you, we're going to put up on the screen my flyer that has my classes. It's right here. And if you're interested in taking any of the Strength and Balance classes or the Zumba Gold, it's all on Zoom. I have a professional studio, and it's every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You could contact my email, or my phone number is on there. Give me a call. It's angelkinsey's@gmail.com, and my number is 954-224-0886. I want to thank you again, Trevor, for coming. And next week, 2 more weeks, I'm going to have an elder attorney. So there's a lot of good things she's going to talk about that's going to help you in a lot of different areas in insurance and finances and everything. So she'll be here in 2 more weeks. So looking forward to seeing you. Thanks for tuning in. Share the video. You could look at it again and again and again, and go on my Touched by Angel Live, and you could scroll and look at all the past shows. Thank you, and have a great day.
You've been watching Touched by Angel Live. Please like, subscribe, and share this video with someone you love. If you wish to join the conversation, have an idea for the show, or would like to sponsor the show, please call us at 1-888-565-1470 or email us at touchedbyangellive@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. If you or a loved one are interested in joining Angel on Zoom for her Strength and Balance class or Zumba Gold class for seniors, email her at angelkinseys@gmail.com. Have a great day!